Welcome everyone to the Break Knyte podcast, where we talk about being creative and all the nonsense that inspires us to be creative. I am your host, the extreme assassin, rumbler from the Bronx, Craven Knight. And I'm a maker of too many things, as Sean likes to tell me that I need to stop every now and then. But with me, as per usual, is the man that I just named. He is the loudest man at any social gathering. He is my co-host, and he will introduce himself. Tell him who you are.
I am the one and only icon of this business known as sits on ass and plays video games and also collects toys and reads books and also draws. I am the lord of my domain. I am the amazing, the one and only Sean Slade. Everybody give it up. Oh, I'm sorry.
Kitty, stand up, show respect.
Kitty. Cat? No, she's still sitting down. I was just wanting my toys to give me a round of applause, but I guess they can't do that.
No respect.
So, welcome to another episode of the pod. As I touch things that are plastic and rubber, we will be giving you the foresight into entertainment, as well as collectibles, as well as gear making, as well as the talent of wrestling, as well as movie reviews, as well as art in the 2D form, as well as entertainment through audibleness. That's all I got. I was on a roll and then I lost it. But it's okay. We're going to put the wheels back on this Lego mobile.
Yeah, so I think we have like 20 minutes left on the podcast.
All right, yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah, like the only show where you can listen to us be athletic. So
I get that. That's stupid.
So,
all right, moving on.
So what's been going on? We can start with a little banter here in the beginning, as I love podcast banter that has nothing to do with the rest of the show.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
As you're setting up your posing, because you're all about your posing.
Well, hey, man, this is an important part of the cast, so we're going to talk about it when we get there.
All the plastiques.
Baby.
Yeah.
But yeah. So as per usual, let's kind of start this off with the creative half. So
yes, we're going to call this segment the Beefcake Craft Party.
Yes, welcome to the BCCP, ladies and gentlemen.
Beefcake Craft. You have to say it slow because it's very hard for me to say it. I feel like I have a lisp every time I try. And this spawned from you coming to my place for me to show you how to do a couple of things with some of the foam.
How to beefcake and craft all at the same time.
How to make some stuff with the foam and some shortcuts and some tips and tricks.
That's right.
Making a brick wall out of EVA foam to make dioramas and stuff.
Which is something that we've brought up on the cast before that I've definitely wanted to do is try to get our hands in our own diorama game, because I feel like as much as I like collecting, the backgrounds are kind of important, and sometimes I just get a little tired of the same backdrop. So having the ability... Or lack thereof. So having the ability to maybe put these people in an environment would be really nice. So I figured, get some practice done, since you got all the cool shit at your house, and my house just has all the actual bought.
Yeah, you have the toys. I have the tools to make the stuff for the toys.
Yeah, you have the tools, and I have the toys.
Because I've spent probably the last, I'd probably say 7-8 years just kind of slowly getting every bit of materials and tools.
And boy, that was the first time that I was in your new place, and boy, do you have a lot of shit.
I do have a lot of stuff. And that garage, I made that garage almost like a little freaking man cave, or just like a room. It's just like a room. It pretty much is somewhat representative of kind of how our little podcast space is.
Our podcast space,
where it has your comics and it has all your figures posed and all that stuff. That's where a majority of my stuff is, that I kind of kept in boxes for a good while. And everything's kind of set up out there. And I do have just like one bookcase unit that has a bunch of my stuff displayed, where I have my desk inside the house. But it's a nice little space that I have the most unsafe electrical setup. Because I need it to be as such, but
at any given moment that place is going to catch fire, so I'll be looking forward to the day that
I'll send you a message like it happened.
Hey, it happened. You're going to send me a picture of your face. You're just going to have no eyebrows. That's the only difference.
That's the only bit of hair that I have, and it's easy to be gone. But no, we mess around with some of the tools that I have for making stuff. And dioramas definitely has been an idea that we talked about before. Something I wanted to dive into eventually, but it's just something I definitely have to be inspired to do. So I do so many different things. I have to be inspired to do those certain things. After that, now I felt like it would be really fun to kind of dive, especially after brainstorming some different diorama scenarios for action figures. It sounds pretty fun to kind of put like little corners of rooms together, especially even as we were doing it, someone in the Minnesota Toy Posse posted like their own little diorama of like a sewer with the brick walls and all that stuff. And we were thinking of how, because me, if I'm going to dive into like making a brick wall, I want to make the best and realistic brick wall for toys that there possibly is.
That there could ever be.
So it's like I have to take into account I don't want just lines and just the shapes and all that stuff. I want the texture. I want the color to be right. I want the weathering to be correct. I want the bricks actually look like they are bricked on top of each other.
Because if they're not, then you're going to be salty about it if you have to keep staring at it.
Yeah.
I absolutely understand that could just be annoying if you have to keep looking and keep looking. As a guy who always tweaks the toys that I buy, imposes and shit, as I do it right now, I could imagine just when you don't have something just quite right yet, you want to make sure that you get it right.
Yeah. And so we mess around just making just testing out some stuff with the foam that I have, and you get like these little, I believe 10 by 8 sheets of foam. You can get them at any Michaels and all that, and just kind of messing around with the wood burner, trying to get the shape in there. We tested out with just like kind of doing slits and expanding it with a heat gun. We found that a wood burner gave it the nice look that it needed.
Yeah, which I found out you can kind of like if you feather with it and like practice with it, you could just basically illustrate with it because the foam and the heat combined, like you can either go really deep into the foam or you could just use feather strokes. So making weathering and stuff seems like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it just some of that foam can also get stuck on that on the tool itself sometimes. So
that was the other thing though. That was also another thing, is trying to figure out like, if you pause and then you apply it again, it's like really hot because it's gonna lose some heat the longer you go across, right? So the second you apply it after lifting it up, it's gonna burn really hot.
Yeah.
So you
have to maintain a consistent motion. It's not like, okay, let me put it here and then go. It's like, no, you just have to go.
Exactly.
And it helps to kind of follow a guide as we were drawing like the lining for the bricks on the foam, and just like messing around painting using a bristled wire brush to kind of dig into the foam to kind of give it that texture of what bricks normally have.
Yep. I tried a Phillips head at first, like that foam.
It just didn't dive deep in.
Yeah, it didn't. But that foam it's so pliable and like. Yeah. You can do some really cool shit with that thing, man.
Well, apparently a thing that has now come to fruition is clay foam. Like pretty much EVA foam in the form of clay that you can mold with and then harden and then make whatever shape. So now you can sculpt the shape of whatever you want instead of having to take EVA foam and try to cut it and slit it, contour it, and make it into certain shapes. Now you can actually use a foam clay. That's not like Floam from back in the day. It was really just beads of foam with ooze and all that stuff.
Yeah, hell
But this is actual EVA foam that is clay, and I've kind of tried and it's a brand new thing, so it's not something I've seen on Amazon just yet. At least I haven't word searched it properly. But I know it's something that TNT Cosplay, which is a company that produces and sells a bunch of EVA foam for a lot of cosplayers.
Oh, that I did not know. That's cool.
Yeah, they sell like the flat sheets of foam or rolls of them and stuff in different thicknesses, and but they're just flat on both sides. It's not like buying the floor mats that has like a metal or somewhat pattern on one side of it, kind of like the foam that's on the floor of my garage. How it has like that sheet metal look to it. Like it doesn't have any of that. It's just flat on both sides, which is ideal, especially if you want to use one side or the other. But it's a really cool thing, kind of dive in deep whenever I get my hands on some of that. Mm-hmm. But definitely was fun to kind of brainstorm on all this and just do some of the painting techniques and show you some of the stuff that I've learned through the process of like making props or messing around with foam and making all that stuff just to make it look pretty cool. And we took one picture with Mr. Slade Wilson over there,
which was awesome.
Yeah,
and we just took. Mind you, I want to talk about that real quick because of how ingenious I am at everything. I'd like to tickle my own fancy here and tell you all that if you have a Mezco Deathstroke 112 collective and you're like, wow, he doesn't have those sweet tassels on his head. Mm-hmm. Well, hold your horses because all you got to do is take a couple of twist ties that are colored black and orange, twist them around the neck peg without any glue, put the head peg back on, and voila! That motherfucker's done. And you'll be happy you did it.
Yep, and in our case, we didn't have a orange twist tie, so we actually painted one using some prop techniques.
For sure.
And it was fun because it was so fucking small, so it was very easy to kind of like apply and dry and all that stuff.
It dried really quick, too. It was pretty sweet.
So I was able to like use some of my some of the skills that I've learned to like prime it with a plasti dip for covering so it can bend without cracking, and then paint it with the orange and then seal it and then twist it on there, and now it looks fucking legit. It looks exactly how it's supposed to look.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
And there's anything I love more than if there's I fucking love making action figures look how they're supposed, like the characters, making them look how they're supposed to look.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
It's a good time, man, when stuff like that happens.
Yeah,
I think
like making that Batman cape, how it's like the cape is nicely contoured and it flaps down and it just looks really cool and stuff. So it's really fun. Even like these with Diamond Selects, right? These,
right here?
Yeah.
These Storm Collectibles?
Storm Collectibles, yeah. The Storm Collectibles figures is how, like, these Street Fighter action figures that look exactly how they should freaking look.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm posing, and I'm so fucking cool. God, I'm so cool. Oh, man, I'm so cool. Sorry.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the Beefcake Craft Party was actually... I was telling a friend of mine about, she's aware of the podcast, but she doesn't, like... She hasn't been around us together.
No.
Like, she's just, she's been my friend for a little while, but she hasn't been around you. Yeah. And I'm trying to explain the situation to her, and she's like...
I'm a situation.
Yeah, you're Mike the situation. Over here. No, I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to go over to my friend Craven's house, and then we're going to do, like, we're going to learn crafts and stuff. And she was like, wait a second, he's the buff one, right? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, so you're going to have a Beefcake Craft Party? And I'm like, oh, you done fucked up now.
Yeah, because I was like, after you said that, I laughed so hard. And I was like, that should have been the rename of this podcast. Instead of just being a section of the podcast, it should have just been the Beefcake Craft Party with Sean Slade and Craven Knight.
I mean, it's going to be no matter what, eventually, ladies.
Once like something happens and we have to shut this down, we know exactly what to call it.
Shut down the studio.
Yeah, shut down the studio. And, so yeah, is there...
Bam! I'm sorry, I had to take a sweet pic of my toys. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
All right, so as per usual within the creative, we talk about stuff that we're working on. And if there's not anything specific that we're working on, of course, we're going to talk about what is inspiring us. So is there anything you've been working on or that has been inspiring you over the last couple of weeks?
Well, Craven... What has been inspiring me lately is the commissions that I was able to get from you.
Yeah.
So I gotta stay inspired. I am inspired by seeing people in tights.
Yes.
It's
inspiring to me, especially because I tell people to go to you for this and that to get designs done because I definitely don't want to do design work, as I've stated before, and to know that some of these wrestlers are committed enough to go from one location to another location is nice because
that means a lot though.
Yeah, it does mean a lot too, and it's awesome. It's nice to see their seriousness, but it makes me think of a joke from John Mulaney, who I think is freaking hilarious and has a bunch of specials on Netflix. But he has a joke from one of his recent specials is like, if there's any place that is more scarier than anything in the world is a secondary location. And it's like, so that comes to mind when it's like, I never want to be, because if you're at one place, like say if you're at a wedding you don't want to have to go to another place after that.
Because everybody will always bitch about it.
Yeah.
They'll always bitch about it.
So if you ain't taking me no secondary location.
I like that.
So it's like, so that always comes to mind. It's like they come to me for something, but I'm sending them to another place to get exactly what they want. So they can come to me and get the physical representation.
And I mean, it's like a testament to how much they respect your work, right? They're like, I really need this guy to get, I really need gear from this guy. So somebody, please, anybody, tell me what I need to do this faster. And then you're like, see that Slade guy? And then I'm like, I think that's exactly how it goes.
What are some of the ideas you've been commissioned to do so far?
Well, right now it's just kind of simple stuff. It's like logo on tights, but it's just combination of elbow pad, knee pads, names, like a logo, some idea of like an embroidery style. Not necessarily like you would embroider it, but you know what I mean. Like when they kind of give the Persian accents to some of the logos and designs. I think that's kind of what I'm working on right now. And I'm working on just doing like new figures as defaults for applying what the gear would look like. So kind of the Vitruvian layout where you get the front, the back, the side view, and then how those guys. That way, I show those guys this is what it's gonna look like. And then when they send it to you, they're like, or when you see it, you're like, oh, this makes tons of sense.
Yeah.
Not saying you're not intuitive enough already.
Yeah, it's just like it can be a pain, and I've stated before, like it's a pain to try, and especially with how many inquiries I've been getting, because I'm only getting busier and busier by the week as far as inquiries go. Also getting paid commissions as well, but getting inquiries is a very time-consuming process, especially if I got to spend so much time with one person to figure out a design. Imagine me having 10 inquiries in 1 week where I have to go back and forth with 10 different people and try to figure it out. That's too much. So if I can send at least 5 of those people to you, and then the other 5 actually know exactly what they want already, it just kind of speeds up the process.
Exactly. I mean, we're trying to put the we in team. So tweem. Hope you guys like it. So I mean, that's essentially what all I've been doing, other than just working on my renders and figure drawing. I've been really hot on. There's I think his name's Eddie Huang. He's actually in Minnesota. His artist name or moniker is Iron Pinky. He works for Udon and PCS Statues, and PCS does all the fighting game statues and stuff. And since he's Udon, he's an official artist for Capcom. Okay. So he does lots of really clean line work and lots of sharp colors. So that guy's really been inspiring me lately. I've talked to him a couple of times, trying not to fanboy, because sometimes I feel like I can really fuck that up. And, just making sure that I keep things spicy, when it comes to the artwork that I'm into. For sure. So because of that, it kind of keeps me wanting to draw, if that makes any sense.
That's good.
But that's...
Yeah, especially with the recent changes going on, the studio kind of shutting down and all that. Yeah. At least you're still able to do something you enjoy. Yeah. And people coming to you to do something that you're good at and that you enjoy doing, that's really good. At least keep you creatives and not in like the dumps as like normally I would probably be if I felt like nothing was coming my way. And, but yeah, for me, I'll say... what's been inspiring me, because I've done quite a bit of projects. Some stuff just kind of going on, kind of slowing me down, but everything I've been getting done has been pretty cool. Like I've been able to feel like I'm understanding singlets a lot better with the last singlet that I did.
Because goddamn, have you told me before that you were like anything but singlets?
Yeah, I tried to rule them out.
When you first started.
Yeah, when I first started, I was trying to rule them out just because like it just felt complicated, and it is a lot more complicated than it probably, I don't know, over time it's probably not going to be as complicated as I'm making it, but sometimes it can be very difficult to put that type of thing together, because sometimes you want to rely on the stretch, but you can't fully trust the stretch sometimes. Correct. It may not stretch as much, so it can be very tough to kind of figure out those little details.
It covers essentially 40 to 50% of your body.
Yeah.
Right? So if you get that wrong, it's like you got the top and the bottom wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's more of a high stakes item, I think.
Yeah. And one of the things that I mainly learned, because the last singlet that I did was the black and white one with the big logo on the front.
Sure.
Kind of makes me think of Venom when I think of it, but
which is awesome.
It was and doing the trim for these singlets tends to be the hardest thing, and I think I've said it before, and it's like, because it's the most time I think almost like 2 hours alone just spending trying to put the elastic on the trim. And especially when I have to add a different color trim to it, that adds way extra time. But one cool thing that I realized about the singlets is realizing how to properly contour it so it fits a certain body type. And when I say that, what I mean is that because if I just made it as is, because the way I made it was just like I made the front piece, I made the back piece, and they have to be different shapes. So the back piece is more narrow as it's going between the shoulder blades, as the front piece is a little wider as it looks more like the front of a tank top.
Right.
So I have to make sure those are very specific. So the seam is like really down the middle instead of being kind of front to back. It's kind of like thigh to the crotch to the thigh and stuff. But I realized because the guy is a similar size to me, I realized that the back, as I put it on as is, was like, it just looked like the back of the spandex was stretching not even that it was working too much, but it's like there was a gap, there was like space between my back and the spandex, which just kind of looks weird.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it'll make you look wider than you are in the back. Because if your back arches and the fabric just goes down, if you turn to the side...
Yeah, you just see that the fabric's trying to be straight, but your back is arched.
So and it'll look more flimsy if that happens.
Which is really unnecessary, so it doesn't hug your back. So and after seeing like a bunch of singlets, on WWE or in other cases, I just kind of analyze them in a way, and I realized that they have the stitching on the side, they have the stitching front and on the back. I realized the front isn't all that necessary. It just, the stitch, really where the seams are is a matter of how the patterns are made. But making singlets in a certain way can get really, making the patterns for singlets can be very difficult. Yeah. And it can kind of get lost. It can get very easy to get confused on the whole process. I'm still trying to figure out the patterning process and perfect it. But I realized as I put the singlet together and there was that space, I realized, okay, I need to contour this in a way. Especially for me, I have, a very big butt. And I have a huge arch in my spine.
Huge ass!
But I realized this trick will work for anybody. So no matter how big their butt is or no matter whatever the case, at least it's still hugging their back. So I realized I just had to fold it and then just kind of find the right point to where I don't necessarily have to stitch it from the bottom seam all the way up the crack of the ass. I just did it from the top of where the top of my butt was, and just made sure that it started right at the bottom of the spine. Sure. For me anyway. So hopefully it will fit that way for the other person. And I've had that spot, and I've been able to center it, pin it, and just draw a line that was consistent. There was a nice little arch going all the way to the tip, to the top of the dip and the back of the back, and then stitch that line. And then once I put it on, it hugged my back very nicely. And it's okay, I think I'm starting to get it now. So it's one of those realizations of okay, I think I can actually do this. But it's sometimes it will really depend on the material. Somebody wants a singlet made out of a certain material and it doesn't stretch 4 ways like the material that I normally use. Sure. It can get really complicated. But singlets is something I'm still trying to master, but as I'm slowly figuring out a little bit better as I go. Especially I just, if I get lucky enough to just do singlets for people who are the same size as me, then awesome. But I had to do a couple singlets for a guy that was very big, and that was very tough for me because I don't know how well it fits. Because I can't have anybody try it on.
I mean, that's one thing you'll never really know unless you meet them or see videos. Their body type. Yeah. Right. So
because all bodies are different, and it's not I guess I can be considered a professional gear maker, but it's very hard to say. Professional. Yeah, at this point I feel like I am, but especially if professional wrestlers can call themselves professionals because they get paid to fake fight. But it's
hey man,
it's
there are real people that get paid to fake fight. You know?
But no, it's just like it's a lot of different body types can be very like I don't know. There's a huge mystery to different body types and trying to figure out proper patterning and working with the measurements and making sure that certain things fit to size or fit so the material can stretch and all that. So I say singlets has been kind of my challenge over the week, but other than that, I got a lot of stuff on my plate and trying to figure out a system to getting back to people with inquiries and all that. And I feel like I'm doing a lot better. We talked about how to deal with certain customers and all that.
Yeah.
And how to get, at least have a preset message so like we at least get our, get the point across that we need all this stuff provided so then we can move forward.
Yeah, there's no sense in beating around the bush, especially when it comes to if you got a lot of work on your plate.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind for anybody that hears the pod.
Yeah.
You come at us like professionals. We'll get you your work like a professional.
You come at anyone with respect. And I guess I could see a little bit of the animosity because I've heard of almost everybody that has come to me that has paid me for gear. Not almost everybody, but a good amount of them has said that they already paid for money for gear and got completely screwed. And I keep hearing that.
Yeah, that's true.
It's insane to me.
I mean, yeah. It's just like people that pay for art and then the artist flakes out. Like, I completely understand that.
It's like, is there justifying an artist kind of flaking out and stuff?
Yeah,
but like,
unless it's family emergency, I never... That's one thing I pride myself on is I don't do that shit. If you commission me for work, especially nowadays, you commission me for work and you want some work done and you've already put down your required down payment, you will get your work. Not only will you get your work, you'll get consistent updates from me via Messenger.
Yes.
So this is another something for all of you guys out there to listen up on, because this is important. If there's work that you want done and you want it done well, there's no more important thing than communication and compensation, right? So if I've already been compensated before I put pen to pad, then you will receive work.
Yeah.
I have baseline contracts drawn up. So if there are people, I want people to understand that I am serious. Now, for some of these wrestling jobs, that's not necessarily the case. I charge very low dollar for what I do for you, and it makes sense because it's just straightforward work. I'll charge more if you guys keep sending back. If my stuff isn't working, you keep sending it back.
Yeah.
You better expect more. Or I need more compensation for it. But at the end of the day, as long as you pay them up front and I communicate with you right away and you start to see things done, then you'll always get your work. Because there's nothing worse than paying somebody for work, especially if you're on a deadline, and then they ghost you completely.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it. And I mean, in some cases, with a friend of mine recently, he has a band, a really successful band, or at least a pretty successful band, and he wanted to start a new project, and there was a singer that he was doing business with. This guy is really, really good, but the guy, asked for an X down payment before he started recording songs or sending pre-recorded songs, right? So what happens is my friend pays him, but the guy never responds to my friend. He doesn't do anything. Like, he just ghosts for, I think a week or so. And he had already paid him X amount of dollars up front. So my friend retracted the payment, right? Like, he took the payment right back out because he got nothing for the work. And
how long was it?
And I think it was a week.
A week, okay.
And the guy got back to him. He's like, "Hey, man, what's going on? I needed that money." He was like, "Oh, wait. So you can contact me when I pull money away from you, but you can't contact me when I needed the work done." Yeah. Like, it's just kind of shit. It's shifty. It's shady shit. What sucks is that trust is still trust.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when it's high dollar, I'll always ask for a contract to be filled out first because, too much time and effort's going to go into this project. Yeah. And if you need to threaten legal action, it's what's necessary. Because if this is your life's work and you're not getting paid for wasting your hours on something, then somebody needs to take heed to the problem. So. Yep, I'm sorry, just had to bring that up.
No, I think that's important information.
Yeah, I feel like that's something you guys should know.
Because, like, I constantly keep hearing about wrestlers getting screwed over, people posting, looking for gear makers, wondering, like, is every gear maker a con artist or just shady or whatever the case? And I keep seeing stuff like that. And I'm amazed by it. And even, because I was on a show on Friday, and Ken Anderson was on there. And as some people may know, Ken Anderson runs the Pro Wrestling Academy here in Minnesota, and a great school for if you want to come be a professional wrestler.
Awesome school.
Producing a lot of great talent out of there. But
we'll get more into
that in the wrestling section. But he was just like he approached me about wrestling gear mainly for like his guys, like saying how like a lot of guys that they go to tend to kind of screw him over and all that stuff. And he was talking to me about like his gear and all that. And like I looked at his gear, I was able to tell exactly like how it was made and all that stuff.
That's cool.
And just talk to him about the process and what my typical turnaround time. I'm still maintaining a 4 to 6 week max, which with wrestling gear, from what I understand, it's really good.
That is really good. Because I mean, back in the day when I was getting gear made from like Easy Money, High Spots, all those fucking guys. I mean, you wouldn't get some of them for like half a year, guys, especially if they have names on their brand.
Yeah,
that's another big thing. Is it's like if they're doing major work for major people, chances are you are at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, because
if they make pay-per-views and work for the two biggest companies in the world, they're gonna get gear before you get yours.
Because that extra exposure that is gaining them that extra business. But that extra business tends to be they're hoping for the big business. For more people in the E or New Japan or whatever the case, but like they end up getting some of the business from the people that they end up putting way down at the bottom of the list, because they're not big names or anything like that. So that's where I come in, is to help those guys that would be considered the bottom of the list. That you're next, you're on my list. And I most likely won't get to your stuff for another 2 weeks, but guaranteed your stuff is going to be done within that 4 to 6 week time frame that I give. And I always say 4 to 6 weeks, maybe sooner than that.
Yeah.
And
because sometimes gear is easy, sometimes it's hard. Art is unpredictable.
Yes.
I completely understand that. I mean, but the more the artist gets paid and the more important the deadline, you'd be surprised what you can get done.
Yeah.
But in the case of like having your plate full and you make your own schedule, things are unpredictable.
And it's nice when you have certain customers that like they see what you do and they right off the bat just say like, I trust you. Like that's one of my favorite things to hear, is that like dude, and I get that a lot, which is always like very humbling and reassuring that like I can. Especially like a guy like Ryan Cruz always trusts me with my own creative freedom to do stuff for him. So it's like always nice to have that creative freedom, but then I also need a little bit from the other person to understand okay, what kind of colors do you want, what kind of look do you want, blah blah blah. But then when they say like this is kind of what I want, just but have fun with it and be creative.
This is kind of what I want, but I don't want it like you got it. Is there any way you could change it? It's still like what I want, but it's like I want less of what you want.
Yeah. And then, like, even, like, one of the, like, JDX.
That guy.
Yeah, he,
Did you do his X-Men gear? Was that you?
No.
Man, that shit was sweet when I saw it.
Thing is, he got it made, and I was talking to him about his gear, too, because I wrestled him on yesterday, on Sunday, at the Hmong Festival for AWF.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Which was just, like, it was funny, because I got there, and I completely missed it. And because I walked all the way down, because I was like late because of the park, like almost 10 minutes away, and then walk all the way down, and it's like a really weird situation. I can dive in deep later, but we were just like talking about his gear, and I was like looking, and the only thing that kind of stood out to me was his knee pads, because they look so small for him. And they just look like, I felt them, I was like, I know exactly what that was made out of. I know this, like I could have done this a little bit better.
Let me feel you.
Yeah, and
I'm the gear whisperer. Yeah. Let me touch you.
Because his trunks look good, but like his knee pads were made by the same people, and it's like they could have done better with the knee pads. So I told him, because I'm looking at my knee pads, which I re-padded with a different stiffer padding that is perfect. I threw it in the washing machine, and it feels no different than when I put it in there. So I have a new go-to padding for that stuff. I'm debating on using it for kick pads. But anyway, I just told him, like, because he, like, said, did you do Ryan Cruz's knee pads? Because Ryan Cruz, that day, was on the show. He wore the white and black knee pads that I made him. And he was like, they just look so big and awesome and good. And it's like, yeah, man, just, and just be able to actually communicate, with these guys in person and explain my process a little bit to them and just have that little that personal touch to them. It's like, it's especially after I work with them, there's always, you build a little bit more relationship with anyone that you end up actually wrestling.
Yeah, and wrestling is word of mouth, essentially. That's, when the boys do the boys shit, they want to be protected. They want guarantees. So, I mean, wrestlers talk to other wrestlers about quality shit.
Yeah.
It's why the fuck not? You want the people... It's investment. You got to figure like this. You want the guy you're wrestling to look as good as you do.
Yeah.
Because if, the same thing when you make a tape. You can make a tape wrestling shitty wrestlers and you still look good, but you will always look a percentage worse than wrestling a guy who looks put together.
Yeah. Because it's almost like you're bringing yourself down.
Exactly.
In a way.
Exactly.
So you go out there, it's like, oh, okay, like, this guy looks like $1 million. His gear is crisp as fuck. But this guy that he's wrestling is like, he looks like he just bought his gear from a homeless person. Yeah. And
now,
I'm not talking about anyone specifically. I'm just kind of spitballing here. But like, and then they're wrestling in front of like probably 20 people.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's like
now, that's not to say that certain gimmicks don't call for certain shit.
Oh, yeah.
If the guy is a necro butcher and he wrestles fucking sockless and shoeless, but his gimmick is conveyed well. Like, that's how wrestling works.
Yeah.
If his character is large, then whatever he's wearing is probably a part of his character. But if you're just two guys who are the shit, and you're both technical, one guy, let us pray, is not wearing track pants tucked into knee pads, tucked into shin pads. So,
God, that was me.
That was everybody at the beginning.
That was a lot of people, but like that was definitely me in my first match out here.
I mean,
I got fucking soccer shin pads from Walmart.
Hey, man.
Because I had nothing.
When I was a yarder...
I had a booking and no gear.
when I was a yarder, I wore those like soccer shin pads on my forearms because I wanted to be apparently a tank. I don't know. It's fucking weird. Wore kick pads, wore Under Armour shirts and shit. And as after I was done out of a yard, I was like, I'll just wear like the sleeveless Under Armour shirts with shorts, knee pads, kick pads. But then I still wore sweatbands and gloves and shit. It just looked like I was dumped out of an NFL training camp.
Yeah. And
then I just put fucking kick pads on. And then eventually I was like, well, no matter how shitty my body is, I gotta at least look like I'm trying to take myself serious. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's the natural progression of things.
For sure. All right. So I think that does it for me. We've gone on like 40 minutes in this.
I mean, it's been long enough.
It's very important stuff for people to hear, especially if you're a wrestler and you listen to this. I appreciate you, and you actually take something away from the stuff that we talk about, whether it's on the creative side, and getting a better understanding of how our minds work when it comes to putting this stuff together. Because Sean and I work together. When it comes to certain people, if they go to him to get a design, they come to me to get a physical representation of that design. It is very important to kind of get inside our minds and get a better understanding of us as people, because I bet that builds more of that relationship with us instead of just like, here's $150 for kick pads. I have no idea who you are. I've never seen a single one of your videos, but you know what? You make kick pads, give it to me, and then you hear nothing from me from whatever or another person, but you. Yeah, it's just better to understand, have that somewhat of a relationship with the people that you're getting stuff made from.
For sure.
Instead of just throwing your money out in Ether or your PayPal. But,
or your PayPal.
But we can dive into toys a little bit. You have a couple here that you're trying to...
Well, see, the problem is that, it's about to be a super big year here for toys after San Diego Comic-Con hits. And I believe there's... I believe Wonder Festival is also going to happen or is happening as well, which is an Asian toy fair.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of nonsense popping off. We'll start with my recent acquisitions, my little Street Fighter buddies here. See, the problem lately is that eBay has been offering these $15 off and 20% off and 15% off purchase coupons lately. And
eBay, it just sounds so weird.
It's so weird because they haven't... I've never seen this up until this past year. that they started to do this. And I started to get notifications through my eBay app when the coupons go live. And these coupons only go live for hours. You know, so the most recent one that I just used was a eBay coupon. It was like $15 off $75 or more. And I saw that coupon. That coupon started at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And it went up until 7. So here I am. I did my gather and start at work, and then here I got time. It's like, okay, I could either eat my lunch or I'm going to scour eBay to make sure I use this coupon. So that's what I did. So I just took a little gander, and as you guys all know from listening to the pod, I'm a huge fan of Storm Collectibles and or Street Fighter. So since they are doing a lot of my favorite titles and or characters, I decided to take a look and see what's in that realm. You know, maybe I'll pick up a Kuma, maybe if they got a Zangief that I can afford. So I went down and I saw that some guy was selling a special edition Ryu, that the dark blue and yellow headband, and then the regular red Ken for about 100. Yeah, about 100 even, free shipping for the pair. And I was like, oh, wow, thanks, yup. So I got it from that guy, used my coupon, got them for less than 100 at my house within 3 days, and I just opened them during this podcast, and let me tell you, you're going to see some pics, scumbags. Ryu is definitely the first out of the bunch, and he's pretty cool, I'm not going to lie, but Ryu's always been pretty vanilla by comparison. I really like the sculpt and the detail, plus, you know, they run rubber, like soft rubber-ish goods for the clothing, so it's really pliable and they're really posable. But so far out of the two, Ken is definitely the best. He comes with the best accessories, I think the better expressions, and you know, in the game I think he has the most flash and flair put to him because it's Ken. So right now they're all posed fighting my green and gold bison.
They're trying to
Toys
fight
R Us.
As he stands there.
As he crosses his arms, which is an actual separate accessory that he can just cross his arms seamlessly, which is super dope.
Just like the Vegeta one.
Yep, like the figure arts we're doing. So I thought that was really cool. But other than that, these are the shit. You guys know I am already partial, but
it's one of those cases where like these figures look so cool that it makes me wish I was a Street Fighter fan.
I mean,
or at least a big enough Street Fighter fan to like get them. Like as far as my fandom for Street Fighter goes, I just have a nostalgic love for the movie and playing the video games back in the day.
Wouldn't that be a hell of an exclusive?
Jesus.
Like you could get the Jean-Claude Van Damme Guile. Oh god.
If they made a Jean-Claude Van Damme Guile like,
exclusive.
Like, in one of these, that would be amazing. Like, those are figures that should come out. I see SH fucking doing.
Yeah, right.
Like,
exactly.
Just like, oh, here's the movie version. Like, it's a horrible movie, but people are going to fucking buy these figures.
I don't know, man. That movie's got a place in my heart, too.
Oh, me too. I really wish, because I know it was on Netflix here and there, and then it gets taken off, and it was like, every time
You just need to fucking buy it.
I know. It's like, I should just buy it. And, but it's one of those movies that, like, I just feel like watching Street Fighter. And it's like, I feel like that's a movie you and I should just do a commentary.
Yeah, we should.
As bonus content.
Absolutely.
Like, if we were Patreon guys, it would be a bonus thing on Patreon, but I think it would be a cool thing just to make and just put on YouTube.
Hell yeah. So, you know, here, you take a gander, Craven.
Yeah, they look freaking gorgeous. Freaking Ryu looks a little like a chick, but no,
it's his eyebrows and his sweet Magnum face.
I just love the sculpts of these. Like, they're just amazing.
The accessories are money too.
Yeah.
So since we're hot on the heels of SDCC, it's coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep, for everybody who doesn't know. Big companies like to announce their exclusives ahead of time. Mezco being one of them, Hot Toys being one of them, and Storm Collectibles being one of them as well. So one of the exclusives, Hot Toys announced an exclusive Anakin from episode 3.
Okay.
think that's how that goes.
That has to be episode 3.
Yeah,
that was aesthetically, that was the coolest he looked. He had a scar, he had a
agreed.
nice dark brown like suit and all that.
And then they did, and the variant is the red eyes and the cool base that lights up. Like, they do really cool stuff like that. Unfortunately for you and me, Craven, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for Mezco was the Batman Beyond figure that sold out in like 6 hours.
Oh, man.
Now it's on a waiting list, so best of luck to all of us.
I'll just make my own fucking Mezco Batman Beyond.
It's just so wild that that series,
like I keep thinking,
brand is like so popular.
Like I keep thinking of ways of like how could I make my own like rip off Mezco type figure and like kind of press on some vinyl onto.
I mean, you can.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally
I don't. However the fuck they do, it's got to be painstaking.
Yeah.
The figures are so
It's
small.
like it's the tiniest sewing machine with the tiniest of people.
Yeah, with the tiniest person.
Spools of thread.
Yeah.
To make these suits.
Yeah,
because I
so
cannot
wild.
imagine like doing that myself because I've tried making small pieces. Like even that cape that I made, I worried about. I got lucky with that one.
Yeah,
but it's not always going to be that easy.
No.
But I think some sewing machines are just a lot better when it comes to that. Like I definitely need to get my hands on a new one.
I think there's definitely specifics that they have for some of these things. Now, on top of the Mezco one, there was also what was the other exclusive? Hot Toys announced another fucking Iron Man exclusive. Now, I can
never get enough of our.
I am not shitting on Iron Man fans at all, right? Iron Man is cool, especially in the movies. I like Iron Man in the movies more than I actually like him in the books.
Aesthetically awesome characters.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I love the look of the
and one of the final designs from Stan Winston, if I'm not mistaken, from the first film. But now I want to vomit because Hot Toys, see, to make these suits, they're just like 3D printed. Yeah. You 1/6 scale the suit, you 3D print it. I mean, there's work in the paint jobs, clearly, and some of the organic damaging or weathering that you do. But comparatively speaking, if you're tailoring a Captain America suit, or you're making a suit, the fabric suit for a Vision, and doing Paul Bettany's face sculpt, is far more difficult than 3D printing a bunch of fucking Iron Man figures. Yeah. So I just think it's the ultimate cop-out to do that. I'd rather have a repainted face than to have another one. But
you want to do a timeshare on a 3D printer?
Yeah, at this point,
I've been looking into it. Like, in the next year, I really want to get a 3D printer.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part for me is just like because it takes so long to print something, but there's so much potential for shit to go wrong.
I say within the next 5 years, we're probably going to try and be making our own figures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't mean like worldwide. I mean us.
Yeah, just make it for ourselves.
We're going to be making the dioramas plus like the jobbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To start off
We're making the fucking electrical boxes with the highest bits of detail in them, like getting 3D printed. It's like, I feel like I add an electrical box to this roof. But yeah, that's something I see as doing. It's definitely something I want to invest in eventually. It's like not really going to aid me financially. It could, but like it'd just be fun to just kind of have one just to make certain props that I really want to make.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can always make everything into pieces. Because you don't have to. It's not like I'm at trying 3D print a giant sword. I want to 3D print the pieces.
But that's
together,
the point. I think what I would do is I would try first and foremost is like trying to make like my own Gundam or something, or like a biosuit. Yeah. You know, that way you print it out piece by piece, and then you just kind of build it, or combine it yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really like that idea.
Hashtag timeshare.
Hashtag timeshare. Yeah. So the toy market's really gonna pop off here, I think, real soon with even more announcements of stuff. There's a new company doing a T800 figure that's Mezco style, so I think Mezco might have more competition, and if competition does well, it forces Mezco to do better. So competition is good, I think, especially in that market of toy. Yeah. Also, Mezco finally showed their King Kong, which looks to be the classic King Kong, which is really cool because it's only $40, and it's not like giant scale. It's not 2 scale with a Kong. It's like a 7-inch King Kong toy that comes with like a little woman that he can hold and like little accessories and chains that he can break. So I thought that was really cool that they do these kind of off licenses. So that's pretty sweet. And then fucking Storm Collectibles, of course, has exclusives where they're the artist designer Kiki, which works for Capcom, that is one of the head designers for Street Fighter. Mezco had, or not, Storm Collectibles has booths of, or will have them at their booth, and he will be having an exclusive color Alex, of course, that I'll have to get, and then also a Shinakuma, and I think they'll be previewing the alternate costumes versions of Bison and Chun-Li. So I think there's a lot of stuff to look forward to, and and it's still a few weeks out. Marvel Legends has a Netflix pack that's coming out that has everyone's favorite Danny Rand as a toy.
He's got iron.
That's right. You can have your very own early 2000s Justin Timberlake with a yellow hand and a business suit with sneakers on. I knew you guys really wanted it, so that's coming up. There's also like a 2-pack of a Luke Cage. There's a Marvel Legends Wolverine that I'm on the hunt for right now because apparently GameStops are getting them. Mm-hmm. But
apparently GameStop is another freaking
toy source,
I guess.
Apparently,
I don't no one freaking walks into GameStops anymore. I know I don't.
It's crazy. They have play arts. Some of them, I'm like, shit. Okay,
all right.
It's just that my intentions on going to the mall now are to just check GameStop to see if they have a toy I'm looking for.
Yeah, because
I never thought it would be this way.
Yeah, because usually the Mall of America is when it comes to toys, it is not a spot to go to.
Yeah, it's usually a sad place.
Yeah, you just go there and you just walk around and get your steps. You probably eat some food.
Get your steps,
you go check out Hot Topic and see what shirts they have.
Yep, you buy shirts.
You find one shirt, but you can't find the other shirt to get the
BOGO deal.
Get the deal.
Son of a bitch.
That always fucking happens.
And then I finally find one, and then they tell me about hot cash, and then I gotta spend my hot cash in September of next year.
The most benefit I got out of Hot Topic, I feel, of all these years is using the hot cash to get my my Rumbler from the Bronx vest that I made, and is my fucking favorite vest, and I look forward to every opportunity I get to wear it.
That shit's sweet.
I fucking love that thing.
Hey, and let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, really, Marvel Legends have been going apeshit on everybody's asshole lately.
Yeah.
There's a Build a Sauron, there's an Omega Red that's coming out, and they're probably the best they've looked since Toy Biz as of last year. They have
when I see them when I walk into Targets, they look cool. It's just nothing really screams. Just because there's it's not a lot of characters in the Marvel universe that really scream scream at me. So it's like I don't have a whole lot of interest in them. But action figure wise, they look great. But I have to also like the character too.
True. And I mean, in this era where of high dollar collectible, right? Mm-hmm. Nowadays you got to bring the noise, So I know Mezco is coming out with a Cable, right? And then there's that they're doing their own kind of design spin on a more traditional comic version of Cable, and it looks fucking insane. And then there's the Marvel Legend version that looks really good too. That's like the Liefeld Cable. One's $20, one's probably going to be $50. But if I'm going to go ahead buy that scale, I'm going to buy the one that I love and not the one that I'm just okay with. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You never want to settle. You want to get one that actually makes you feel things.
This is the era of options, unfortunately. Yeah. So, say goodbye to your wallets. So, that'll wrap it up for the toy segment. Like I said, we'll go more in depth when things actually start getting announced. Last year when this happened and you and I were doing this, I kept sending you images of the shit that they were announced and that they'd show. So hopefully we'll get a lot more of that stuff here coming up. Sure. So I'm pretty excited. But I'd like to segue from toys to entertainment because you saw a movie that I also saw.
I made sure to see it before we potted. Because,
which was a smart move. When you told me that you were like, yo, I'm at the movies right now, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know what you're seeing, but it's a smart move.
Yeah, no, because I went to the movies because with my lady and her diving deep back into school, her time doesn't really lend to us going to movies all the time. So we had one opportunity Thursday night to go see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And
Fallen Keaton.
the Fallen Keaton. And
Jurassic World, Diane Keaton.
But it was a interesting experience, and when I say interesting, a very frustrating one. Because if you follow me on social media or if you friends with me on Facebook, you see me bitching.
If you're the poor sap that follows you on social media,
that you see me bitching about the fact that there was a family that decided to bring 5, 6, 7 kids to the screening at 9:45 p.m. in the evening, and and one of those children was about 1 year old, and it ranges between 1 and maybe 7 years old, and one of them coughing up a lung, the other one running around like she's like in a fucking playground. Like, this family literally treated this movie theater as if it was their own playground. It was their own freaking living room.
And
like, obviously if you're a family who carelessly brings a bunch of kids to a 9 p.m. showing of
you are scum! You are trash!
You clearly do not give a crap about the people. So it's one of those, like, there's no point in arguing this, because in their minds, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, and they never give a shit.
Because they pay their money, so they own the theater.
Correct.
As we all feel when we go to a movie theater.
Yep,
like,
I own it, it's mine.
Like, the person that crunches on popcorn better shut the fuck up, because I paid my hard-earned money for this movie.
Exactly.
So it was a very frustrating experience. We get to the point in the movie where they're at the bar talking, and that's where I freaking gave up. But I wasn't the only one. There was plenty of people that went to go complain to the manager.
There were plenty of people who gave up.
Yeah, there was like going, guy next to me, poor lonely soul, there by himself. Watching a movie, just kept kind of eyeballing. And me, I have really good peripheral vision. I can see I can see the hairs on the back of my head.
I knew it.
Lack thereof. And the guy, I can see every time he's like eyeballing him. He's having the same thought process as I am, where it's like, should I just leave and get my refund?
Do we kill her?
Do we kill these children? Do we kill these
them?
children? And this is like a woman, and the woman who I think is the mother, at least like 3 of these kids, is like someone I can't imagine anyone ever having a child with.
No.
Or ever going through the process of having a child. But like,
we're not shaming.
We're not shaming.
We're
explaining. We're explaining exactly what happened. And this woman also, she's sitting in the bottom row where the handicap seats are, and she's just like letting her 1-year-old roam free on the floor. And the other young girl that's probably about 5 years old is roaming the floor, running up and down the stairs and all that stuff. And this 1-year-old kid has, playing with the mom's cell phones, running back and forth, like touching people in the front row and stuff. So, and really, it's not just the stuff going on, it's the constant screaming and crying that we're hearing from the 1-year-old. So it's one of those, you can't, like, once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Like, you can't unfocus on the fact that there's this ignorant family here who brought these kids.
You can't lose focus. That's the problem with, the point in going to a theater.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, to immerse yourself in the experience as much as you can.
Yeah.
And you can't if other people are just making even sounds.
Yeah.
It's like when one person opens up their cell phone in a dark ass room, everybody sees it.
Yeah.
The people way in back can see you as much as you're trying to hide it.
So, and when other people do it, that doesn't bug me. Like,
really?
It doesn't bug me nuts. Unless it's bright as fuck. I always dim. I'm considerate enough to dim my phone.
Sure.
Like today, I'm going back and forth for inquiries, so of course I'm getting constant responses. You messaged me while I was there, so I made sure to message you.
True.
And but my stuff, it's very dim, and I keep it low and all that stuff. I know people can see it, but like that stuff doesn't bug me. It's more of like the typical stuff that, bringing just children like that, especially that late at night. If it was in the middle of the day, I would get it.
I think there's just there should be a cap for kids, right? Yeah. I don't want to bring a 1-year-old to a movie. Like, I can't. I wouldn't. No. If I had a 1-year-old, I would not do it.
My sister specifically, like, will get like my mom to babysit and just go to movies by herself. Like, she would never bring her kids because she knows he won't stay still. But not everyone freaking thinks that way. Not everyone has common sense that way. Right. But I don't think it's more of a common sense thing. It's more of like, I don't care about anyone else's well-being.
I don't care about you thing.
Yeah. It's like, this is me. Like, I'm going to see this movie with my kids, and plain and simple. So go fuck yourselves. Yeah, and then, like, as we left, someone said, like, leave the theater. Like, someone screamed that. And then the woman said, it's a baby. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, how do you argue with someone who clearly doesn't understand that she's in the wrong?
Yeah, you don't.
Like, it's just no point. And it's one of those, like, you just bite your tongue and you leave. You get your refund, you get your gift card, whatever. And that's what I did. We left. So, the guy that was sitting next to me was at the counter, like, getting his refund, just getting a rescheduled ticket. He went to the next showing for the hour after, which was really just, like, 10 minutes away. And so I was like thinking, like, do you want to go to the 10:45 showing? Because Erica really wanted to see the movie. Me, I didn't have a huge interest in the movie going in because I was so upset by the second trailer.
Sure.
But yeah, I was really pissed off by that. But like, we were there. I enjoy physically going to the movies. I enjoy sitting. I enjoy getting the reserved seating, sitting in the reclining chairs, eating popcorn, drinking soda. I enjoy that stuff.
I mean, it has to be an experience for people to go nowadays.
Yeah. And now, and people do hate going to the movies and always say, "Oh, that's why I don't go to the movies. That's why I don't do this and that." It's like, shut up. I enjoy going to the movies for this and that because I don't deal with that stuff on a regular basis.
But some people can ruin the experience.
Yeah, and that's what happened here. But like, we saw the movie.
So
today,
you finally saw the movie
because we got our gift card. We finally got to see it today.
Talk about that shit.
Yeah,
talk about it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it's like, you know, it's the best freaking Jurassic Park movie. No, I thought it was like a nice one, especially when it got towards the end. It was a nice, and we're definitely gonna talk about spoilers. So if you haven't seen it,
spoiler alert for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yes. So spoiler alert for Jurassic World. If you really wanted to see it, then you probably would have saw it. If you don't care, then you don't care.
If you don't care, you're gonna not care that we spoil it.
Yeah, so, but no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a nice way to go back, like, kind of really bringing back the horror movie element to it, to where they try to really, you know, put that in there towards the end with the with the new
with
Raptor.
The thunderstorms and the lightning and the doors.
I thought you were gonna call it the thunderstorm Raptor, but like I can't remember what they called it. But it was like the
Indoraptor.
Oh, the Indoraptor.
So cool.
The Indoraptor 3000. And
God damn it, they should have.
Okay. And I guarantee you, if this movie came out in the late 90s, they would have called it the Indoraptor 3000.
Yes, they would have.
And, but no, and it was a very cool looking dinosaur. Their whole thing was like, instead of the Indominus Rex from the other movie, they wanted to make another type of raptor that would follow orders, but it's like they clearly didn't learn this from before, because like this thing went off and killed everyone, and he killed all the people that you typically don't like. But no, it was just rich people and mobster. I thought it was funny because they had little tiny bits of elements from like all different types of movies, like that whole mob movie type stuff where you have different people with money trying to buy off like it's like a mob is buying dinosaurs for their own what? Okay, so.
Yup.
Yeah. What did you think of the movie?
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
I know your opinion. I know your opinion in a nutshell. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I berate people with that the second they walk in the door.
Yeah. Saw it. I was like, I saw you post and your post on the movie. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, but you're gonna see it anyway because you know you're just like, oh, that's just Sean.
But because like I think you must have saw it probably like a showing before, or like probably you were in the theater at the same time, except you were at the end and I was at the beginning. So I think I saw your post like later on and I was like, motherfuck.
Oh yeah, I suppose that would be a terrible lineup for you. Well, anyway, so what I think Jurassic World sucked. What else is new? So let's talk about one of the main characters, Star-Lord. Star-Lord in this movie is far better than he was in the Marvel Universe because Star-Lord can outrun cascading lava, outrun dinosaurs that are running from lava, catch up with a literal ball ship that builds inertia upon going down this volcano mountain, dive into the water and hold his breath longer than any porpoise. Oh,
I think they cleared that up as he probably went up to get more air.
Yeah, probably. You don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Because he didn't dive deeper into the water to get a knife.
No, he didn't. He sure didn't. But man, when he came back down seconds later, he was fine. Yeah. And then he also has the ability to beat up armed guards. Out of nowhere, he's a freaking badass. Trained guards with weaponry. He can beat them up like they're security to Goldberg. That's exactly what he did. He potatoed all of them like they were Goldberg, security. It's not Goldberg.
This is all the extra talent that they hired to back up fucking Brock Lesnar
and
Roman Reigns from each other. And
they were just there for the catering. Let me tell you, folks. The sweet, sweet creation of the new hybrid raptor, the Indoraptor 3000 has the ability to smile and play tricks.
I thought that was very ridiculous. And funny is because it's one of those moments where it's like you before it happens, you see it and it's like it'd be funny if he did this, and he fucking did it.
And then he does it, and then you're like, oh, it wasn't that funny.
Yeah,
I'm actually sad now. Yeah. Yeah, so the Indoraptor 3000 is fucking ridiculous. They just did genetic splicing that, the whole film. Yeah. The whole series of films has just been fucking genetic splicing.
Because they're not learning from one another.
So they're like, okay, that's the Indominus Rex. Remember when that fucked everything up? Yup, sure do. Moving forward, let's create the Indoraptor. Yeah. Because it can take orders? What the fuck?
Well, only if you have the specific gun that has a laser pointer and a button that says go after that.
Yes, correct. So the Indoraptor is
other than that, it will attack you like
it ain't shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it also has a sense of humor, like we learned.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's cool.
It's a sense of humor. It likes to tap and taunt you by tapping on the fucking floor every time it walks.
Oh, so cool.
I thought that was actually pretty cool.
So cool.
But it has these freaking claws, but you see it at first when it's trying to grab the Miss freaking Les Enfants Terribles, which is a reference from Metal Gear Solid because this fucking little girl's a clone.
Oh, yeah, she sure is. The little girl in the film.
We introduced human cloning because we needed that.
Big twist! Big twist! Just when you thought you had enough of splicing, let's clone people! Yeah!
So they introduced this whole idea that they clone this little girl because she's wondering, it's like, oh, do I look like my mom? It's like, yes, you look just like her. But the grandfather is kind of hiding the pictures, because he doesn't want to share these pictures. But they cloned her because he wanted to keep his daughter, but he wanted to keep his. But yeah, so he looks exactly the same. So she looks at a picture of her and her caretaker. And it's an old picture, and it's like, I look literally exactly like her. Mm-hmm. And she's wondering what the deal is. And then they explain that she's a clone. And then she's freaked out by it. And it's like, okay. And then never touches on it again. Granted, it's at the end of the movie. We don't need this whole story arc, but it's just fucking ridiculous.
Okay, let's gauge this on a premise of they're trying, this whole film, they're trying to justify to me that dinosaurs need to be around.
Yeah.
And that's the big argument, right? In no way, shape, or form, in anything that these movies have shown me in my existence, should dinosaurs be allowed to exist at all. None! None of them!
Fifth movie?
Yes.
Fifth? Yeah, this is the fifth movie. Every single one, everything has gone wrong with dinosaurs, and now, spoiler fucking alert, they live amongst us because they are freed because we cannot handle the visual of a crap load of dinosaurs trapped in a bunker and possibly getting poisoned to death. and then they get let loose into the world. So now Blue, a T-Rex who is roaring at a fucking lion, which is a pretty interesting image in itself to see a lion and a T-Rex roaring at each other.
Sure,
but you see all these dinosaurs. You see You just see them everywhere at the end, and then they had to really, because if everything wasn't on the nose enough, they revisit the beginning scene with Jeff Goldblum saying welcome to Jurassic World as he's still in the court, and I was like, that's a little on the nose, as if anything else in this movie wasn't.
So mind you, the 10 seconds that you actually get of Jeff Goldblum, he's like, no dinosaurs should not exist. Yes, they should die on this island. Don't get them. It's over. Mm-hmm. And then we get the GOAT, Ted Levine. Best part of the movie, because I am biased, because I love Ted Levine so much. He wanted to put so many dinosaurs in the basket. I was so happy to see him be the obvious bad guy within 5 seconds.
Yeah. I was like, because as soon as I saw him, I was like, every Jurassic Park has that guy.
Yeah.
Has that snarling, glasses wearing,
the dino abductor.
That has the fucking trank gun. And it's like, Jesus Christ. But he was awesome. He was awesome in that role.
So awesome.
And I do not hate this movie at all. I actually enjoyed the movie. Stupid. I was legitimately entertained by this movie. But there's just so many elements in there that's just so freaking ridiculous.
Don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun riffing the shit out of this movie with my friend. And
this is a fun movie to get the Blu-ray or get the digital copy,
sit down on the couch and just
do a freaking
roast it.
Do a commentary on it.
Because man, that we might have to. Because that movie,
I'm still excited for the day when we finally do it. I feel like that'll be freaking fun as hell to do a commentary on a movie.
It's gonna happen.
I think Street Fighter or Demolition Man or whatever has to be the first.
Yes. So, also I'm gonna continue on to many points that I hate. The obvious social justice warrior placement here. The Latino dino doctor who, up until she rode in a truck with Star-Lord, the first dinosaur she'd ever seen in person was a brontosaurus. Fast forwarding in the film, a raptor gets shot with a bullet, and then she performs surgery to it and gets it done, no problem.
Yeah.
With only ever seeing a dinosaur once, studying them via books, she was able to extract a bullet from dino flesh, and then put T-Rex blood. Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
it was so cool. And then you had the weak male character for her, which was social justice warrior B. Yeah. Who was like the black kid who's really afraid to go out in public and talk to people, who's socially awkward, but is really good with tech stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's the only place where he's cocky and has a big cock.
But the alpha male is still Star-Lord, and the alpha female is still hot white girl.
Yeah, you know how you know he's the alpha? Because he squints.
Because he squints, and he's faster than anything else on the planet.
Even though he looks like he's lightly jogging to go get the gallon of milk that he forgot.
He is so goddamn fast.
Because his running looks ridiculous in this movie. I can't get behind it.
One of the part that I laughed out loud at, legitimate, in the theater, me and my friend, is... Alright, so there's a T-Rex in a fucking trailer. The T-Rex is going night-night, but they need to extract the blood out of this captured T-Rex in the back of a trailer. Mm-hmm. The thing barely fits. It's just basically a head and some thighs.
It's just laying there, it's tranked, it's knocked out.
So Star-Lord has to use his Star-Lord powers of sneaking to not wake up the dino with alpha female lord, and extract the blood for this thing to make a transfusion to do open heart fucking raptor surgery. Anyway, so the dinosaur is like, getting a little perturbed.
What's happening?
It can kind of feel things on it, and then all of a sudden you hear guards. And they go, hey, who left this door open? And then the guards go over to the open door of the trailer that the dinosaur is sleeping in and go, boop, and shut the door. 5 seconds later, the fucking T-Rex is going apeshit. Putting holes in the trailer, screaming and shit. They got the blood from it. It almost bites Star-Lord in half. They open up the hatch, and they were able to sneak away. Yeah. What? There were people who just shut the door. There were people that just checked on this trailer, shut the door. 5 seconds later, this thing is going apeshit, and nobody checks on it? Nobody.
I think to them it's just like, oh, they're just making noise and all that stuff. And they just happen to walk by.
But he put a hole in the side of the trailer with its claw.
And it's like,
I was like, what the fuck?
T-Rex is good at T-Rexing.
Man, the first thing that popped in my head was some Metal Gear shit. Like, I was like, oh, the
AI
is just
There's
shit.
A lot of Metal Gear elements in this movie.
The AI is shit. Hey, who left the store open? Kunk.
Because they're just on they're on their preset patrol pacing as they go around. They say, who left this door open? Whose footsteps are these? What was that?
What's up with this
water? It's just a box.
Yeah.
And
it's just a box. Yeah. Continue walking.
And then Bryce Dallas Howard gets out from the top and she's able to open it, but able to do the roll.
BDH.
Able to get out of there and stuff, and I don't know. It just, there's a lot of silliness within this movie.
The movie was so fucking stupid. That it was
I like going back to where Nerd Kid who screams like a girl, because that is hilarious still in friggin' 2018.
To you, maybe.
No, I didn't find it hilarious. They overdid it in the trailer so much that's like, yeah, this ain't that. I used to be one of those guys who ironically screamed like a girl back before I hit puberty so hard to where my voice is so deep I can't hear myself.
You can't do it anymore.
I can't do it anymore. But but no, it's supposed to be the funny thing in the movie where he screams like a girl because he does it fucking 10 times in the same scene.
They're like, yeah, do it again, yeah. They love it, yeah. I'm just like, ick, dude.
But where he finally gets his redeeming moment where he takes a tranq dart and he shoves it into the lead dude that was in Jurassic World, but he's also in Jurassic Park, the first one, the one that genetically enhanced.
BD Wong.
He tranks him, but then you have that scene where it's it screamed video game to me, because they trank him, but they can't kill him because there's still another one of these movies coming. Yeah. So they need him as a master villain. But he gets tranked, he's knocked out, but the guards take him away before Blue is released and destroys, everyone, all that stuff. Which I like that they actually showed blood in this.
Man, okay, that's another thing that got me about this movie is it tried to be violent as fuck, but they couldn't show you.
They can't show you everything. So, but they did show you some blood.
They did show you some stuff.
Which usually it's not like a Nolan movie where it's we're gonna do this, but we're not gonna fucking show you blood.
Holy shit, the villain though, the way he died. Wow, surprising that there wasn't blood everywhere. Because they had, it's a T-Rex and a whatever the fuckasaur, and they're pulling him apart and slamming him against the floor, and I'm just like, yeah. See, the funny part is, they had one thing would have changed my outlook on a lot. Probably the biggest reason why I still kind of enjoy the first one is that Plesiosaurus is my favorite.
Okay.
The giant, long-snouted alligator demon dinosaur, the underwater one they show in the beginning.
Okay.
I love that fucking thing. And I loved all of its scenes in the first movie. Mm-hmm. And I like how it always kind of does the same thing in these past two movies. It's if this thing isn't dead enough, don't worry. The Plesiosaurus has it. Yeah. And it comes out the water.
It's a lot of predictable, because immediately it's very predictable what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They did the foreshadowing by showing it there.
Yeah.
And it's getting in the way of that blimp. Actually, it didn't get in the way of the blimp. It was literally right above that little blimp that was in the water, but it's still past it.
Yeah, it's still past it.
Because they still got the bone.
And the guy was hanging on the ladder too fucking long.
Yeah, which that was a long fucking ladder.
Yeah, it was a long fucking ladder. So, yeah.
But it's exactly. I'm in the theater, I'm sitting and and he comes.
And then sure enough, plop.
But yeah, and then they show it again to show you how like now dinosaurs are living amongst us in this world. They show it and I think it was in the trailers too. They show it like in the water while everyone is surfing, and then like a guy falls off the surfboard, but you see it within the wave as they're surfing, which is a freaking scary image.
Yeah. Like, that and the funniest part is that was in the trailer, and that was one of the biggest reasons I wanted to see this movie, and. That one scene only happens at the end.
Yeah. And it's just a little tag at the end.
And I'm so sad because that would have made me so happy. Which is why I'm looking forward to Meg.
Eat a bunch of surfers at one time.
Yeah, hell yeah. This is why I'm looking forward to Meg. Which will be just as, if not fucking stupider than this movie. But I like a megalodon. Throw me a megalodon, a giant great white shark, I will be very happy.
Jeez.
But yeah.
Nightmare fuel right there.
Nightmare fuel. But I'll tell you what, either way, this movie was fucking dumb. And I will, the second dumbest part that I LOL'd at this movie was the dinosaurs are about to get cyanide gassed. Yeah. They're all in a room and they're all going.
They have
the sympathetic, like you never hear the terrifying growls. You only hear the sympathetic ones. So it's all like they're all really sad in one room, and then your favorite BDH Bryce Dallas Howard decides she has her hand floating and she's like, man, it taped them, and they're like, you sure about that?
Yeah.
It's a bad idea if you let out dinosaurs.
Because this is not an island.
Yeah.
This is the world.
And then she doesn't do it. And I'm like, oh, God, thank you. And then all of a sudden...
Little liquid snake.
Yep, little liquid clone snake comes up. It's like... Bow!
It's like, I have to save them because they're just like me or some shit like that.
Yeah, they're alive, I'm alive, so I gotta let wild animals out and kill other people who are no longer going to be alive.
Yeah.
Your logic is flawed, you cloned bitch!
It's funny because, like... because this movie wasn't really all around funny. It had, like, little humorous tags that were... their idea of funny, but the funniest part in this movie was just a line from Chris Pratt when he goes out there and Bryce Dallas Howard goes, it's like, hey, be careful out there, and he goes like, hey, just remember,
if I came out,
just remember you made me come out here.
Yeah,
it's like that's what you don't want to hear when someone could potentially die.
Remember, you made me
I laughed my ass off at that little part because that's what I expected. I expected him to say something like that. So he's like, you made me come here.
This is your fault.
But like, other than that, there's really not that much like hilarity in the movie. There's stuff that's meant to be humorous, but there's not like a lot of like.
I mean, I thought there was tons of hilarity in the movie.
But for the wrong reasons, for different reasons, for your own reasons, they were hilarious.
I mean, it's just funny that we both kind of feel the same way. It's just that,
but like,
you were more admitted to like. It's like, it's dumb, but I had a good time. And I'm like, this wanted me to have a good time, so it's dumb.
Which shows, and I love that we have differing opinions on stuff scales. Because that makes for very interesting conversation on a podcast. But like, I enjoyed the movie. It's not something I would pay to see again in the theater. I guess I totally can see your point of view. I understand why people wouldn't like it.
Right.
But like, it was like I enjoyed the horror movie elements to it. I enjoyed some of the homages to the first film, even though they were very ham-fisted in there.
Right.
And like they have some tear-jerky, like I'm a sap. They have some tear-jerky moments with the dinosaurs. Like you see the dinosaurs, they look beautiful. Ideally, if you were to see them in person, they look great. And then you don't want to be.
So I will say something that's good. Mm-hmm. The CG in that movie was pretty impressive.
Yes. They even have some practical with because I know for sure that that blue was not fucking
not
CG.
All the,
that was practical. And so that, I give it a lot of props for that, and something they should do is like not rely too much on the CG. But like the CG that they had was really good. And there's no reason why it shouldn't be good, but then you have movies that have CG and look horrible.
Right.
But like, no, CG in this movie looked great, and like
the CG looked pretty good.
Yeah, and I was like, I came out and was like, I want a raptor.
And my other my other favorite part of the other part that I liked, other than Ted Levine, was the Headbuttosaurus.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was clearly
I
the
love that
best
guy.
one.
That was awesome.
The Headbuttosaurus was the shit. Gotta turn my vest around. I'm getting stabbed. Right in the back.
Because I like to make dangerous apparel.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, shit.
We just figured out our Suicide Girl shit.
I gotta show you the Instagram page that makes like a lot of stuff like that. I don't think I showed you that one. I showed you a different one, but I don't think
I saw Alistair's, but that's it.
Yeah, there's a different one that does like a lot of that stuff. But that typically does like, I think she specifically does like the gear for the not the Ascension. Fucking for Rowan and Harper. But she does like a bunch of other leather work and jackets and stuff. But anyway, no, in the end, I thought it was an entertaining movie. It has silly elements to it, but
it is
I find
entertaining. We will both agree.
Yes, it was entertaining. It was funny. It's fun. I guess it had its funny moments, but it was funny for our own reasons and not necessarily for the reasons that they intended.
Right. I just wish it wasn't called Jurassic Park anymore.
Yeah.
Because Jurassic Park essentially died.
Well, yeah, it's called Jurassic World.
Film.
So they just call it the park.
Shut up. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just wish it was called Star-Lord Rise of the Dinos.
Chris Pratt is badass.
Good segue to the recent passing of one of the greatest T-Rexes of all time. Fucking Big Van Vader. I miss you, Vader. He had passed away just recently. I think he passed away on Monday.
Yeah. Heart failure, which is funny. Not funny, but like it was because I told my sister about it. Cause I figured like she used to be a wrestling fan. She would know remember who Vader is.
Yeah, sure.
And then she was like, I told her, I was like, oh, Vader died. It's like who? It's like Vader.
She's like Darth Vader?
I think she said that. No, so I was like, oh yeah, how he died? And I was like, I don't know, probably heart failure. And it's like, yeah, it was heart failure.
Yeah. I mean,
which is always the case for most wrestlers.
So I followed him on social media for a little while, and it sounded like he knew it was coming. Yeah. Like the family knew it was coming. He's had some, even though a year ago he posted that picture of him being in like crazy good shape still, but at the end of the day, like they knew his body wasn't holding up too well with his heart.
Yeah.
So it sounded like they kind of knew it was coming. But man, he was the alpha bit guy for a long time. The formula that worked for years. Japan has modeled characters. They've modeled the fighting game character from King of Fighters. It was Big Bear, which was him unmasked, and then I forgot what his actual Raiden. And Raiden is his name when he is masked, and he was modeled after Vader. So he did a lot of Vader's moves. He was this big tank with big gut. He was a grappler. He was really awesome. But Vader and Stan Hansen were like my two favorite wrestlers of the old school era. And that was the first Japanese matches I was watching next to Benoit and obviously Jushin Thunder Liger. And Vader, the reason why Japan loved Vader and Stan is because they swung for the fences. They were guys who, yeah, it was fake, but they beat the shit out of each other like it wasn't nobody's business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they when they started hitting each other, they hit each other for real. Yeah, the finishes were planned, but that's about it.
Yeah.
When Stan Hansen throws a lariat, it's at your eyes. He doesn't aim for your chest.
Jeez.
Like,
so what's gonna do the most damage?
And Vader, and him and Vader's match in Japan, where Vader had to put his eye back in his socket. It was like, it was fucking brutal. But Vader was always convincing. Yeah, he was a potato machine. Like, he hurt guys, but man,
Yeah, I saw a clip. I think it was on Instagram because a lot of my wrestling that I end up seeing and revisiting tends to be just little clips on Instagram where people post like full matches, but like minute by minute, which I've edited videos. Like that has to be a fucking nightmare. To fucking do that. But anyway, like he was in the corner and he was wrestling Ken Shamrock. And Ken Shamrock kept, like giving him shots. He's kept telling him to lighten up. And then Ken Shamrock, and then freaking Vader just solid punches him in the head. Yep. And I'm pretty sure Ken Shamrock was just mostly selling, but like he just fell to the mat and shit. And it's like
because even Ken understood the business.
Yeah.
Vader was just like, yeah, the business of being hurt.
Yeah.
So he just fucking had to go in on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rest in peace to Vader.
Yeah. Very sad. Like I'm not gonna say I mostly knew him from Boy Meets World, but that's
a lot of people did though.
Yeah,
he was popular.
Yeah, but I didn't really start consistently watching until after he already had his stint with WWE. So WWF at the time. So but mostly I got to see him a lot in Boy Meets World, playing Frankie Stechino's father, where he had to wrestle Corey and Eric in the school for some reason, or freaking Frankie needed legit advice on how to bond with his father, but it had to happen at a WWE live event.
Oh yeah.
And because the father needed advice from his son in order to actually legit beat Jake the Snake Roberts. Corey had to go back and forth from Topanga's birthday to that, and it's like I watched this all recently in the last year, so it's like
that's
fresh
awesome.
in my head. But no, like that's kind of where I knew him from, and it was just. He was, entertaining in that show, and he was entertaining in the ring, and he was great, especially being a big guy who can, like, did he do a moonsault? He did a moonsault.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, he did the Vader salt.
Well, he would do, not as much as Bam Bam, and
okay.
I guess, I'm trying to think, I think Vader did moonsaults, but only in Japan.
Okay.
He'd do them only when he'd miss, of course.
Yeah.
But Vader mostly did the Vader bomb, which he would just springboard out the corner and do.
I just feel like he used to do a fucking because I remember him doing a moonsault at the tag end of that Boy Meets World episode, and he did it to like flat on the mat.
He always liked to do it to miss.
Yeah,
that's how I always remember it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't need to dwell on the sadness.
No, but rest in peace, Vader. Thank you for everything you've done.
Man. But you know what? That might be a good drawing to do. I think Vader would be a good one. Now that I've marked, I don't know if I had mentioned that I did a Kenny Omega fan art.
No, we talked about it.
We talked about it
last one.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Go like that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But I think Vader would be a good next one.
Yeah, for sure.
So TakeOver.
NXT TakeOver took over.
NXT TakeOver
took place last week.
Yeah, sorry, we're late to the party.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I thought it was amazing. It was very simple.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was very simplified. It felt like a takeover that took place before WrestleMania, honestly, to me.
Yeah, it did.
And with the exception of Oni Larkin and Danny Burch, who were in the opening match, the tag match. I'm
going to go ahead and say that I think that was the best match on the card.
I think it's literally one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen.
Thank you. And that's coming from you.
It's coming from me. And because I enjoy a nice back and forth physical style. And they can do that with NXT, number one, because they have the Performance Center. So they don't utilize just house shows to kind of practice stuff. They have a Performance Center go over this stuff. Because people constantly wonder why is NXT so much better than WWE? Number one, there's not too many cooks in the kitchen. Number two, they have a lot of rehearsal time. So that they can put on performance art in the best possible way because they have the time to put work into what you're eventually going to see on a live taping or an actual special event that they have coming up. That's the best way to really put it. But not to take any credit away from these guys at all, because they did put on some, it was Undisputed Era, friggin'
hell yeah.
Their names are slipping my head. for some reason.
So Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly.
Which
I fucking love that dude.
Kyle O'Reilly has grown on me so quickly because like it was very much a judging a book by its cover. Cause I never seen him before he came to NXT. I judged him as like he's that stoner that's just sitting on your couch, no matter what couch there is out there, he's on it. But no, he's fucking legit. He's inspiring to me as a wrestler. I see him like everything that he does is fucking solid, and he has like so much charisma and like just his body language.
Yeah, see, that's the thing I like about him a lot is that his body language speaks a lot about him.
Yeah,
like how he like thinks he's this fucking gremlin when he's doing good, but then when he gets beat up, he starts to be kind of funny.
Yeah,
like his sells are silly.
Yeah.
And but serious at the same time. Mm-hmm. So like he's the kind of guy who'll get punched or he'll get like he'll take like a knockout blow. He'll get rocked and then he'll like throw a punch and then bump. Yeah. You know, he's that kind of guy. Who's
like he sells in that way that makes that should make wrestlers think about how they sell.
Yes, exactly.
Like, and it's one of the, and that's why I say like they're inspiring to watch. And Roderick Strong is just fucking. I've heard his name for years, but I've never actually seen him work until NXT. I've never actually seen him until NXT, and like
really,
that's my only time I've seen him because I don't really like I never watch like I never outwardly looked for stuff.
Sure.
And like if I don't really know them, I don't necessarily watch their stuff.
So there was a time back when I was like probably a year into the business, actually, or two, about a year. I was going to every ROH that was in Minnesota and helping them set up the ring. Okay. And I would talk to guys like, you know, giving the soft handshake and talking to everybody around. I remember I talked to Christopher Daniels. I talked to Roderick Strong. I talked to Mickie James before she was Mickie James. What was her gimmick name again? I used to know. But you know, I just in passing, just a little bit, because you know that's what it was about. Is you help the guys out, and what they give you, if you kept helping them out, you know, you get to know people. You know, you're just rubbing elbows essentially in the business. But I'd always get free merch for doing it. Okay. So you know, I got a lot of ROH shirts and gear and shit out of it too because I loved the show so much at the time. And Roderick Strong was always a monster, and then they just kept pushing him till he left. And the only problem with Roderick Strong is that he is way too snug. Yeah. I think that dude works way too hard. Yeah. Like he's really good, but but this is from a worker's perspective. Like this isn't from a Mark perspective. If Raw Markinsons, I don't give a fuck. Kill everyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Good. All your shit looks good.
I think because it works for him, especially for NXT. Where it's like they fucking work hard to prove themselves, but if he goes to like the main roster and like sure he can do that with Daniel Bryan because they fucking have history
because
together.
They love each other.
But if he's chopping the shit out of like you know he tries
anyone else on the roster,
they're gonna it would have been fucking
like
kill him.
Elias Sampson even though he was on NXT, I bet you he would have humbled him real quick.
Probably
you know the guys that were homegrown talents, I don't think would take any of that bullshit. No. You know, not even Jericho took that kind of damage in the at Dominion. Yeah. You know, and that was a New Japan show. Granted, it was hardcore, but still, it was just like fuck, man. He just goes a little too ham on people sometimes. Yeah.
But I feel like nowadays that's kind of the same case with me. Well, not like the thing is like I got praised because I wrestled Chris Jordan on Friday. And for a small town show, I forgot. Actually, no, it was like more in like Roseville or whatever. But like it was me and Chris Jordan. We opened the show and we wrestled each other. And we haven't really wrestled each other in years. And we're both like kind of looking forward to it because like my first match out here was with him and P Huge, Junk Squad, and stuff. So like, and I love Chris. He's like one of the coolest dudes. And just the most down to earth guys. Cool. And we had like we were going over stuff, and then once we finally went out there, they had me playing heel, so I was just like having a good time. And usually I don't enjoy being a heel, but if I do, it's like I do what I have to do to get people against me and stuff. And like what was funny was that like they had the music's worked for me as I went out first, but the music like kept shorting out. The speakers kept shorting out every time the announcer tried to announce Chris Jordan's name and stuff, and it ended up becoming a thing because it will start working. And then it'll stop working and start working and stop working. Have like 4 times, and the crowd started getting like behind it. And Chris Jordan just like a pro, just comes out and starts screaming and all that stuff. And
come on!
And I told the announcer, I went to the announcer's ear. I was like, okay, you have to shush the crowd and announce him just so they hear his name, but just announce him as loud as you can without the microphone. And he ended up doing that. And then that was before he left. I was like, hey, you used all that energy to announce him. I need you to announce me, just like that. And I'm trying to shush everybody, and nobody wants to shush because they fucking hate me already. So it just fucking worked. So I was like, oh man, I guess I'm not that bad at being a heel. But we had a fantastic match, which was like probably a little over 300 people in this small little area. It was an outdoor show. At least it felt like 300, but they sounded like 1,000. Because like it was just really like awesome. They were just like into it, having fun. A lot of kids there having fun and all that stuff. Even being an asshole, I still was able to sell my merch because outside of actual wrestling matches, I'm still a fucking nice guy. But so I sold a lot of stuff there too. But we had like probably one of the most fun matches, ending it with I lost to a superplex because that's the biggest reaction you're gonna get. It's a fucking superplex. So I was like, fuck it, we'll just end it with a superplex, And Chris Jordan's a pretty old school guy with some new school type of elements that he throws in there.
Yeah, he is pretty old school.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun being able to work with him there. And that was like my Friday night in wrestling. But when it comes to NXT, and I'll probably keep diving a little bit into the shows that I've done over as we talk about NXT. Mm-hmm. But no, the tag match that opened NXT was by far one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. Not mainly, but like one of the key reasons being with no one caring about Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. No one gave a shit going in. They came out, they got no cheers, the music was very lackluster. Chicago crowd, wrestling fans, completely behind Undisputed Era.
Oh, yeah.
But as this match went on, as it progressively got better and better and just more intense and more insane, the crowd just like, fuck yeah, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, these guys are fucking solid. These guys are awesome.
They're the shit.
It was exactly freaking Rocky for Drago and Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Like where it's like people were booing Rocky and then they started cheering for Rocky because like this guy's freaking great. He's putting on a fight. That's exactly what that was, and that built them up, which I just thought was so sad that like not that I wanted them to win the tag titles. I just think it's sad that from the spoilers that we got of the tag title switch for NXT for the UK, and I think they mainly did it for the UK.
Clearly.
Yeah, because they end up switching again at the TV taping. So.
It sucks. Yeah. But also, I guess Oney Lorcan broke his orbital bone. So he needed surgery right away.
Jesus
Christ. At the end of the match. So, I mean, that's sad because that's going to kill their steam.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge boost.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look at guys like Ciampa. It's not like it's not impossible.
Yeah.
If anywhere, it's very possible.
Come back jacked as fuck and just
come back. I mean, someone like Oney Lorcan could come back with just a little bit of a different, just with different gear would make him
because he just has a very plain look.
Him and Burch, So
they have a very plain look. It's like pretty just like they're kind of resting on like their skill versus having a personality that they can portray.
And I think eventually they could definitely if they came back with a new look, I think they'd still be over there.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, love that match as a night went on. Right after that, we got
Ricochet
and Tangerine
Dream.
The Velveteen Dream.
Okay, so I didn't know that Velveteen's tights were Prince Puma's tights.
I didn't realize that as I saw it, and I think a lot of people still don't realize that it was they keep saying, "Oh, he did a Hulk Hogan thing,"
tribute,
but it's like no, he did the Prince Puma thing because I knew there was something up with that gear when Ricochet walked up to him and said something about the tights and all that. 'Cause I imagine he did not see those tights until they went out to the ring.
It was legit.
Yeah.
It was really cool. That match told a hell of a story, and I like that
it was the best storytelling match.
Oh, without question.
Like with characters and stuff.
Without question. And I love that the whole point was that they were trying to one up each other. Or that Velveteen was trying to one up him, not him trying to one up Velveteen. Really.
I was thinking Velveteen was going to surprise us with a freaking Power Ranger front flip out of the ring outside.
I'm glad that he, the big finish was that he just went for the elbow. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to do a moonsault or something. Mm. I just like that, you think you can do that? I'm just going to fucking end it with the biggest elbow drop. And then he just, got himself killed. Yeah. But I don't know. It was awesome. It
was a great match, yeah.
I like Ricochet better in this company now that I think he's just going to be really good. Mm-hmm. I think he'll fill the Neville void.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Until Neville eventually comes back. And
I don't know, man. It sounds like they probably won't take his ass back.
Yeah.
I think Neville's smartest move would go to New Japan once his no-compete clause is up. Yeah. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, yeah. I thought the match was great story-wise. It did, as the first match was, a really great wrestling match. This match was a great match with character and story, with the whole anything you can do, I can do better type stuff. The women's title match didn't really do much for me.
I liked the only big shine for me was that Nikki Cross passed out with a smile. I think that was the coolest part.
Yeah,
because she's fucking nuts.
I love that dynamic. I love that dynamic. How she enjoys the punishment and she's freaking crazy because that's something that. But I felt like that's something they could have built to. Took their time a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
A little bit.
Granted, I feel like this is
because Nikki Cross doesn't feel like title contention, right?
Yeah.
If she's just insane, that doesn't mean you should have a shot.
Yeah, because she just kind of fell into it. Just happened because it feels like they rush into the quote unquote build up right before the takeovers instead of actually building up to the actual takeovers. Yeah, and that's true. Because it's all just we're just putting on a show every week until the takeovers
part of that might be because of their shows being pre-taped so far ahead.
I imagine that's what kind of hinders them. And I understand there's a reason to that. It's all preparation because it is, in the end, developmental.
Yeah.
It's not, it's the only reason why it's, its own brand is because of the takeovers being so good, but the takeovers happen every 3 months,
right? And
it's week to week. NXT is just kind of not that entertaining to watch.
It is for me, but it depends on
what's on there.
What's on because
you'll probably have one good match every 2 weeks.
Yeah, sometimes you might have two.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is. See, the show is mostly feeder. Mm-hmm. It's to get other people over.
Yeah.
So
feeder and filler.
Yeah. I think mostly it's that, but every now and then, I think the main event of almost every regular show is almost worth it.
Yeah.
Especially if they do tag stuff, it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Plus, it's fun to watch people try to develop their characters instead of getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
So, and plus it's only a fucking hour. I enjoy watching anything that's only an hour long over something that could potentially be good for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Yeah. It's when you have, and I think that's what, does NXT a lot of justice, is the fact that, it's an hour show every week, and there's not as many cooks in the kitchen.
Correct.
As the main roster and all that, with having so many writers, and probably writers have their own gripes, so they end up working that into the script, which I've heard things like that before.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And it ends up just kind of being what it is, where people aren't the happiest with it, but it's NXT is definitely its own thing. We all know that, and it's fun to watch, especially these takeovers, because you look forward, you feel spoiled when you get these takeovers.
Yes, you do.
You get these takeovers, you see 5, maybe 6 legit amazing matches, and then you get the week to week, and you're thinking, we're gonna, okay, it's just all build up, and so it's and when it's you watch NXT, you want matches, but in the end, it's it has to develop these characters too.
So you have to.
You have to be able to
you're not going to get your clinic until you reach.
Yeah, so you have to earn it. So
or I've noticed whenever UK guys are on, I've noticed that every regular NXT, if Pete Dunne is working, the match is going to be disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, certain guys.
You'll let them have their fun and do what they do and stuff. And I'm looking forward to watching this UK tournament. Like, I rewatched, like, I forgot.
Oh, shit, that's on now.
Is it on now?
Yeah.
Fuck, I gotta watch that. Because I rewatched part 2 of the UK tournament. I never watched it in full, except for the actual title match at the end. But I didn't realize Tommy End and Neville had their match on that, which I must have spaced on because that was before.
That was before he became Alistair?
Yeah, before he became Alistair, but he was still freaking popular out there, and he just signed with NXT, so he wasn't part of the tournament. And that was a freaking amazing match and stuff.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to watch the UK tournament, which I'll probably do later on if I'm not watching Raw. But yeah, and then what else did we get? We had the...
And then, there was only 6 matches.
I thought it was 5. So we had the tag.
Matches.
We had the tag. We had the Dream. We had the women's. We had the title, which was Alistair and...
Yeah, and Alistair and the... What does he call him? The Jack Kirby illustration come to life.
Oh, God.
Best title, Lars Sullivan.
Lars Sullivan, okay.
Which was really good, except for the complete whiff of the black mass. Mm-hmm. But the crowd was still super hot for the finish. So it's good to know that not everything fell apart.
Yeah.
And then, I really, really like Lars Sullivan. He's always going to get heat because he is an E guy. He's a big ogre.
Yeah.
But not too many times do you see convincing ogres.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is he is built like if you've ever seen Ren and Stimpy, you'd know what a galoot is. He's built like a galoot, like a big oaf, a muscular oaf. And, it's awesome because he moves and conveys himself like he looks. He doesn't look like just an athletic prodigy. He just looks like a brutal ogre. Yeah. So yeah, I really like him, and the thing I like about Alistair is that he also is one of the few who likes to tell a story. Mm-hmm. Like, he likes to hit all his shit, but he also likes to tell a really good story about the other person. Yeah. Like Lars catching the kick. Yeah. Like, that was a big cornerstone of it. So I thought that was really good too.
Yeah, that was a great match. It didn't really stand out or anything, but like...
it wasn't like the hottest shit, but it was good. It was solid. Yeah. But who else was there? It was like one more. Who was the main?
How can you not know? It was Ciampa.
Oh yeah, Ciampa and Gargano. Yeah.
Thanos and Captain America themselves.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy. Yeah. I definitely think that the feud lost its steam to me when he came back and got reinstated just cuz. Okay. When Gargano had his farewell and then they were like, come back and then let's fight Ciampa again, it lost, I'd say 40% of the steam for me. Yeah. But they're still really good at wrestling each other,
I think just because, maybe the fans want another match between these two. Yeah. And if we up the ante here, we make it a street fight, which kind of the other match kind of was. That's what it was an unsanctioned match anyway. But this time they come out in fucking pants and shirts and fucking beat the shit out of each other.
It was really cool.
And this time it's tear the freaking apron off of the ring and expose the wood.
And it's funny because nobody's done that in an E product that I've seen. Not that I've ever seen. Yeah. So that was the first.
Other than the freaking NXT stuff, the Nexus stuff.
Oh, sure.
That was the last time they did that. Like
sure, when they pulled it all apart, didn't they? Yeah.
Because they were changing their stage and setup and all that stuff. It was like, fuck everything up.
Yeah. So it was pretty. I missed that. Yeah. But that was the first time anybody has actually done anything. Like, they kayfabed the ring, to a crowd. Yeah. And it was awesome because he threw his wedding ring. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, oh no, it's not enough to kill you. Yeah. So then he went, chased him off of the gurney. Got back, Ciampa gets in first, Gargano gets in on the wood side, bam, Spike DDTs him on the wood. Yep, that was awesome. The finish. I thought that Gargano might lose, But that finish I didn't see coming, so I was very surprised.
Yeah, I felt like if Ciampa lost, that would have just made him look way too weak, and especially the type of character that he's portraying. Yeah. To be able to get a win like that was awesome. Yeah. And I feel like I felt the same about Velveteen and Ricochet. I feel Velveteen should have got the win.
I do too.
Because like he's lost because like now he's, to me as a fan, all I see him is just like, okay, every time a new cool guy is coming in, he's gonna wrestle Velveteen Dream and beat him.
Yeah.
Like Velveteen Dream has really no.
Velveteen Dream's so much better than that.
He is, for someone that's really, it's like he hasn't been wrestling for like years on end. He was a tough enough loser, but he's athletic. And he has a great character.
What is he, 20? 21 now? Like, the dude's young as shit.
He's young. He's like Paige. He's like a young dude, except he hasn't been doing it his whole life. And he's just a natural at it. Yep. And he just has a really great, interesting character because, like, I really... as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's the gay black dude from Mannequin. Like, that's what I see. And it's awesome. Like fucking amazing, and and I just think he's amazingly talented. I look at his body, like the way he stands, how he has that like crazy. He
has that really hard arch, like you do.
Yeah, and so I was like, I relate to this guy. Being athletic, having an awkward upper body. But he uses it. He fucking knows how, and he's fucking awesome. Good.
I love it.
So I think there should be a lot more. Like I think Velveteen deserves so much more.
I think
he's definitely earned like a little bit more than just losing.
I think really what it is I think the guys, I think the higher ups and back are specifically not giving him much because of his age.
Probably.
That's what I think.
They're humbling him a little bit more.
Yep, they're humbling him a little bit more.
Because you push him too quickly, you get someone like a Zach Gowen or
who loses their shit and asks for more money.
Yeah.
So my guess is that they're gonna give him one more year. Mm-hmm. And then they'll start giving him real shit. Yeah. Because what I don't want him to be is an Adam Rose.
Yeah.
Who had all the potential, had the gimmick, then they put him up, and then he's garbage.
Yeah, I fear him going to the main roster and his stuff just kind of getting withering down, and he ends up just being on Superstars that nobody even knows even happens anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, I don't want that to happen because he's too good for that to happen.
I agree.
And he's able to kind of still portray this character while still being good in the ring, which you don't really see a lot of. Which we got to see a lot of Goldust later. Like, granted, his whole character of Goldust that he did in the 90s kind of went to the wayside, and he's just kind of became a silly character. God damn it, I miss old Goldust. And he ended up becoming more of a silly character, but he started having amazing matches.
Hell yeah, he did.
Like, crazy, as if he's, like, in his 20s.
And he talks about that shit in like, interviews and podcasts that he's in. He's like, I'm having better matches than I've ever had.
Yeah. He's gotten like a healthier place, and he's able to have fun, have a little bit more free reign. Yep. And which I feel is the case for freaking Daniel Bryan, is how like being the place that he is, being the freaking the money, like he's pretty much like he's money right now. So it's like, yeah, go out there and do what the fuck you want. So that's why we're getting the matches we're getting on SmackDown.
Exactly.
Because like very true. He's in a certain place where it's like, yeah, I'm going to go out there and I just want to have matches. And that's how I feel. It's like, I just want to have fucking fun matches and shit. So, but yeah, for NXT TakeOver, I thought it was great, especially leading. Like, I really look forward to TakeOvers, because I just look forward to seeing matches that I can rewatch again and again. Because as soon as it was done, I was like, I want more. So I just rewatched it that same night. But it's it was rare that I just sit at home and I just like literally sit in the living room, put my Roku on the big TV, and just sit there and watch wrestling. Like, it's just like, it's rare. But I guess I do it week to week with Raw, but I'm always doing other things that's happening. But for me, we're gonna eventually cut this off, especially since we're hitting the 2 point. But also, I'm at 2% on my laptop and forgot my charger. So